Okay, so I'm going to show you guys my CommonPlace book that I've made for poetry. I've only put one poem in it so far, but I wanted to show you guys how you're able to, using just simple things you may already have around the house, be able to create this really cool book. So first things first, this was all made with only 3 pieces of decorative paper. So these are the 3 that I used. 3 different kinds of decorative paper. I did use some washi tape. Now, I'm not a huge washi tape user, but I had a whole bunch, so I grabbed some. And who knows if it's ever going to get all used. And then I also used some itty bitty brads, and I also used some normal sized brads. I used a little bit of ribbon in some different colors. And I just used a glue stick. It took me a whole glue stick plus a little bit more to do this. But you could, if you don't want glue sticks, you could use, like a double-sided tape or something. Or some people, I have a friend, she just loves using normal tape and going to town with it. And then I used a bunch of vintage books. So I'm just going to show you some examples of the vintage books I used. So this here, as you can tell from the edge, is a golden book. And I purposely didn't cover the back, so you can see what, that it really is a golden book inside. But I used a golden book. I really messed up. This was a Shel Silverstein book that was totally coming apart. So I'm not ripping apart like a brand new one. And here's just some other examples of books that I took pages out of to create this CommonPlace book. Okay, so I'm going to just show you inside some different things. I just covered the front of this with a piece of the decorative paper. Oh, looks like I used 4 kinds of decorative paper because I forgot there was this one. I think I only had one tiny scrap left of it. And so here's the blue. I just wrote the words and placed it on there. So one of my favorite things to do in these junk journals, so this is like a junk journal turned into CommonPlace book. So one of my favorite things is doing the stacked pieces of paper. So this is actually just connected to the piece of paper that was on the front. So I just let it fold over and then kind of zigzag folded it. So I had this nice clean edge, and then if you see right under here, that's the open edge right there. And I use these little brads to secure these inside here. And then just to cover the back of the brad, I added this extra piece of the decorative paper. It's just a random piece of page that came out of a book, which actually that one I don't think I brought in here. So, and then I just put it in here. What's fun with junk journals, it's quite literally supposed to be just junk you have around your house. Or possibly almost like what's that called? Like keepsakes, ticket stubs, things that you picked up from, say a museum or something. Okay, and so again, this is just something from a book. Okay, so here's another page stack. I just took out, this is like from the tomato book. This I think was just from another book. This is another piece of that chapter book. And then this is a piece of the Shel Silverstein book. Okay. Okay, these are all put in here. Again, I used brads, which are on this other side. And this, I just put a piece of paper in here. And when I picked this book, I kind of picked it because it did have some empty space. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this for little quotes from poems and other sorts of things, or poems I write. So that's what I'm going to be using this book for. And that's why I'm calling it a CommonPlace book for poetry. So this is just another little piece of paper. Right here, I used a piece of Velcro, and I actually added little extra pieces of paper in here. So I could put pieces of poetry on there. And then, oh, now it's going to fight me. I'll fix that later. And then I just added some extra little colored papers here. And one thing you do with the books, like if you're using just a golden book, what you do is you'll take some pages that you don't like so much and you actually glue them together so they become a little thicker. So I'll show you farther down. I'll show you a spot where I didn't glue them together. Oh, here's one right here. Right? Nope, that one's glued. Never mind. But anyways, so under these pages are, like, this is one page. I glued another page together. And then I just decided to cover this entire page. This I thought was cute just because it was a poem or, you know, nursery rhyme. And piggies on the page. This is one of my favorites right here. I've got this little paper stack right here so I can write all sorts of little poetry quotes or short poems, haikus, and whatever else. And then this is a big paper stack. So I have tons of pages. This one has only a little bit of space here, but I could do some blackout poetry here. And more pages. There's lots of different pages to write on. This one I just included for fun. I have no clue what I'm going to do with this, but I just like to have the little song lyrics. And then this is the back of it. And again, this came off, I think, the same page from a book from this. So, and then this, my son is serving a mission right now, and he just wrote this poem, and I had to write it down because he actually isn't the best at writing poetry, and this actually turned out really awesome. So I had to have it be the first thing I added to my Poetry CommonPlace book. And here's just another fun page. Like, I liked this picture, so I wanted to keep it, but I just added some extra little elements to it. And on this piece of paper, I just used a permanent marker and just kind of barely touched along the edges to add some color. And again, I added this one because there's plenty. I could write right over this with no problem. This one kind of made me think of my favorite teacher when I was in elementary school. So I'm thinking I'm going to write a really tiny poem there, or maybe I'll add it here, or I'll add it here. Who knows where it's going to go. And then this is another fun, big, thick stack of different papers to write poems on with different pictures and stuff. I just liked this picture out of a book, and it had text here, but I just covered it up. And then here's another last fun page. So this little cow here, he was just adorable, screaming his little head off. But I could either use Sharpie, and so I could write it nice and thick right over it, because this page is doubled up. So it's nice and thick. So I could do that. Or if I really wanted to stand out, I could just take another piece of paper, cut it out, and I could place it on here and write the poem. And then this is the last page of it. So this, I had a little baby in a tree picture that I really thought was cute that I just stuck in there. So that's pretty much all the different parts of my poetry junk journal. I'm going to be teaching a class on this. So I was making this as an example. So I thought I would give everybody an idea of what it would look like to create one. And I'm really excited to go ahead and fill it up with either my own poetry quotes, poets quotes, all sorts of things to put in here. I hope you liked it, and I hope you'll make your own.